The most crippling addiction in the world is facing at least half of your friends and family. That's right. The numbers vary from 27% to 70%, the effects remain dire. That is between 89 and 230 million lives affected by an addiction more psychologically damaging and harder to shake than cocaine or heroin in the USA alone.
In health class, we learned that partaking in pornography, as a observer of pornography, watching porn, was a healthy thing. I learned about this in health class.
Neurosurgeons have actually studied the brains of people who watch porn, and they found that the brain gets rewired. It starts to crave things like pixels rather than people.
And it's a non-trivial technological problem. You know, it's now possible for young men to look at more beautiful nude women in one day than any man has ever seen.
Whilst pornography is a new and far more prevalent issue in the modern world, sex workers, exotic dancers, and prostitution have been around for most of human history. Humans, especially human men, are drawn to the naked bodies of each other, and especially naked women, in an almost magnetic manner. Unlike today, pornography used to be way harder to access. One would have to walk into a store, look the cashier in the eye, and somehow greet them naturally while handing them cash. There was once a time when the public and even the law would shame and punish those caught interacting with porn or masturbation. Yet, today it is taught at grade school as a healthy habit, and teachers, colleagues, friends, and celebrities all seem to promote it. Pornography today is readily available at just one click to anyone with internet access. And sure, these sites advertise to only be for those over 18, but that does not stop tens of millions of kids and teens watching pornography every year in the USA alone. So, what makes it so damaging, addictive, and dangerous? Well, first we need to understand how pornography affects the human brain. I said at the beginning of this video that it can be more addictive than cocaine and heroin. So, how can that be? After all, you aren't a junkie, you live a normal life. Using pornography radically changes the neural pathways in the brain by causing the body to inject strong neurostimulants directly into the pleasure center of the brain. Pornography and other extremely arousing content causes your brain to release large amounts of dopamine and oxytocin. These neurotransmitters each have a very unique effect on your brain, so we'll go over both of them before moving on to your brain literally shrinking and your relationships dissolve. First up is dopamine. You have likely heard of dopamine touted as a feel-good chemical, and this is mostly true, but it also dictates your anticipation and desire. Huge levels of dopamine are released when you watch porn, especially with the unnatural variations of pornography you can watch. Naturally, a human will only have a few sexual partners at most. Yet popular porn subjects show that people watch a wide variety of different scenes, from one-on-one to massive groups and, well, frankly, very, very weird topics. This causes your brain to become desensitized to dopamine, incentivizing you to dig further and further down the rabbit hole. And when it comes to your day-to-day life, you end up making riskier and riskier decisions in order to feel any sort of pleasure because you've now absolutely overridden your brain's ability to receive and handle dopamine. Next up is an even more dangerous chemical, oxytocin. Oxytocin is associated with trust, sexual arousal, and relationship building. It's sometimes referred to as the love hormone or the cuddle chemical. When you hug or kiss a loved one, your pituitary glands release oxytocin. This is especially important in a romantic relationship, as it elevates your mood and makes you feel more attached to your romantic partner. Oxytocin levels increase when you're hugging or kissing someone, and when you're experiencing an orgasm. When you watch pornography, masturbate, and orgasm to a bunch of pixels on a screen, you cause your brain to form a bond of sorts with the porn and the tiny little lights you watched it on, which, as you can imagine, is extremely harmful to your neural pathways. This chemical, which was intended to facilitate bonds between romantic partners, instead causes bonds with a screen. In 2014, Dr. Voon at Cambridge University did a series of MRIs on porn addicts and found that their brains resembled that of drug addicts in a key and detrimental way. Their frontal lobes were shrunken, a term known as cortical hypofrontality. The frontal lobe of your brain is the part responsible for thinking, reasoning, and rational decision making. So this shrinking is very damaging. meaning that the more porn you watch, the harder it is to make rational decisions regarding porn, as you lack the ability to put the brakes on. On top of that, several studies have shown pornography to have very similar effects to the brain as drugs, going as far as having the same cue and craving effects on your brain. The brain experiences similar addiction cycles, shrinking, and cues as hard drugs. However, pornography also causes other just as gripping effects, including high levels of oxytocin and dopamine in association with the addiction, something unique to pornography. However, the problem does not end with professionally produced hardcore pornography. You can become desensitized to this feeling of lust by the continual exposure to or searching for exotic magazine covers, Instagram models, Instagram posts, Hollywood films, or I dare say the new and radical, empowering fashion trends worn by celebrities and high school kids alike. Celebrities seem to have a contest to see who can show the most, and this trend of skimpy clothing has been passed down to college kids and now sadly is becoming prevalent even amongst high school and grade school students. And this desensitization can lead to you watching more and more exotic and dangerous types of porn. Not because you intend to, but because your neural pathways have become wired to need more extreme stimulants to feel the same arousal and release. Almost 500,000 marriages fall apart each year due to one partner avidly watching pornography. This is incredible and it is horrible. Marriage is supposed to be a covenant that lasts forever. It is the most sacred of human relationships, and even it has been savagely attacked by the damaging effects of porn. Porn causes both men and women to view women as sex objects, and not the people that they are. It also causes people to more lightly regard acts of adultery and can ruin the beauty and gift that sex is. Now, I don't want you to feel like it is simply a hopeless and degrading cycle. You can quit porn, you can get free, fix your relationships, and cure your brain. It's hard, but it can be done. You aren't alone. Millions of people suffer from the same thing every single day. So I have taken and compiled helpful resources for you and researched solutions that might help you. First, let's look at how to break the cycle. Obviously, the first step is to, stop watching. But as we went over, this cycle is hardwired in your brain. So how do you break this habit loop? Every habit has a cue, and with a habit like this, it could just be you feeling horny. But that is not always the catalyst. It is often because of that model you follow on Instagram, that story you see on Snapchat, or the photo some stranger sends you. In order to break the habit cycle, you first need to start by removing the cue. So go ahead and unfollow anyone on Instagram who posts revealing photos or insinuating content. Mute stories on Snapchat, or block people you know you really only keep around because they're hot. This is especially relevant if you are a man, because we men are very visually stimulated. Other than eliminating your habit cues, you should also make sure to set new habits. Trying to do something is much easier than trying not to do something. For instance, try to fill your time with other activities. Spend your energy exercising. Sit down and chat with your family. Go out with friends. Find a club. Read a book. Catch a bass. And don't spend too much time alone. Go to church. Find people that share your values. Try to form positive habits. Get together with friends or family and share what you've been going through. And ask them to help keep you accountable. I have put links to several online communities to help you stay on top of it in the description down below. A habit in the dark stays in the dark and stays a habit. Bring it out to the light and it will become easier to break. If you're too embarrassed to share it with people you know, please take advantage of all the free resources I've put in the description. They're free. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Make sure to subscribe for more videos on health, fitness, and wellness. And follow me on Instagram where I post really sick photos. And don't hesitate to share my opinions about anything. Thanks for watching. My name is Silas Willoughby, and I'll see you guys in the next one.